Oh, hey there. I guess you got my my normal morning routine. I always have these weird thoughts in the shower, so I thought I'd share them in the shower. Why do you build me up, buttercup baby, just to let me down? So today, kind of what I wanted to talk to you about is pricing your home and some mistakes that I've been seeing going on right now in the market and how homes should be priced and why they should be priced that way. So here are some tips about what your agent and ultimately the appraiser are thinking when they come to price your home. And if an agent doesn't come along with some of these tips, probably should talk to somebody else. Because 72% of people work with the first agent they meet. That's not good. You should interview because not everybody offers the same thing, nor is everybody going to line up with your personality. Make sure they understand your needs and that they listen. Okay, number one, an agent and an appraiser is going to look at the county, the school district, and the township. Why? Because we are a commonwealth, which is a stupid, broken system. I'm sorry. But there's only 4 states in the country that abide by the commonwealth system. So what that leads to is that we have different sets of taxes for township, county, and school district. So an agent or an appraiser is going to find properties that are in the same school district, definitely the same school district, definitely the same county, and if they're really lucky, the same township. Township is the least of the taxes, so it's the least affected, right? Your school tax, ultimately, though, is the most important one because it represents 2/3 of your taxes annually, even though we run on a half calendar. I know, it's weird. We pay taxes in July for school district, and then when it's about February, we pay the other 2. It's strange. Just broke it up. Oh well. What a wonderful world. Number 2. Those past sales that they're going to use to justify your value not only need to be in the same area, the same school district, all that jazz, but they need to be recent, right? They need to be within the last 6 months. Maybe the last 12 if you're really stretching. But ultimately an appraiser is going to want the freshest data possible. Wise men say. Number 3, the homes they use need to be similar. And what do I mean by similar? Well, if you have a rancher that you're trying to sell, they need to compare it to other ranchers. If you have a colonial they're going to try to sell, they need to compare it to other colonials. Sometimes, though, being in micro school districts like Littlestown, for example, there's not a ton of data because there might be 300-400 homes that sell there annually. So sometimes you got to stretch it a little bit, right? But ranchers ultimately need to be compared against ranchers. When it comes to a colonial, you might be able to compare it to a bi-level. You might be able to squeeze one by the goalie, as it were, right? Only fools rush in. Number 4, it has to be within 5 miles of the subject, aka your home. Meaning that it needs to be within 5 miles as a bird flies directly around your vicinity. Anything outside of that will not be considered. But I can't help falling in love with you. Number 5, you need to understand that the appraiser is kind of like a cop. He's going to get handed a contract and he's going to say, $250,000. Awesome. I'm going to go check out this house, make sure it's in decent condition, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to find 3 really good sales that'll justify this sale so that the bank can feel comfortable investing in this property. My phone's going off. I don't know who's calling me. I'm showering. Hello? And call him back. Number 6. There's more elements that an appraiser is going to consider. It's got to be typically within 30-year build, right? The other thing, too, is he's also going to consider things like main streets, scenic views, those other kind of things that might create an adjustment. So if you're on Main Street, that's different than being on a street that's tucked away in a neighborhood that doesn't have heavy traffic. So they're going to look at those kind of variables as well. Like a rock, strong as I can be, like a rock. Number 7, you also need to understand that your square footage is not exactly valued the same. What do I mean by valued the same? Well, if your square footage is above grade, which above grade means that there is less than 3 inches of soil at the base of the home, then it's considered above grade, right? If there is more than 3 inches of soil, then it's considered below grade, and it's considered basement square footage. Basement square footage is a quarter value of above grade square footage. That directly affects your value, right? So if it's worth $100 above grade, it might only be worth $25 below grade. So if you have a 2,000 square foot home, and 1,000 is above grade, and 1,000 is below grade, your value is going to be skewed because of the basement, right? And you've got to make adjustments for that. You would cry too if it happened to you. Number 8. The homes that you need to look at, you need to compare to, need to be within 30% of the above grade square footage. Meaning that if you have a 1,000 square foot home, you cannot compare it to anything that is over 1,300 square feet. Yeah, there's a lot of technicality going into this, right? Thanks for joining me right now. Hold on, I forgot to condition my hat. Number 9, other things that need to be considered. The condition and quality of your home, right? So, if your home is in so-so condition, I as an agent can only compare it to so-so houses. If your home is in excellent condition, I can compare it to excellent homes that have reached top value. So, when the appraiser looks at these homes, they actually have a Q system, right? So, it's a Q 1 to 4, and what they'll do is they'll rank it to similar Q sets, which represents quality. I cannot compare a high quality home against a low quality home because the appraiser is not going to. So if I do that, we're going to run into problems. I can see what's happening. They don't have a clue. They'll fall in love, and here's the bottom line. Our trio's down to 2. Number 10. Keep in mind when you were talking to your agent about pricing your home, you need to say, is the appraiser going to be okay with the value that we come up with? Are we able to justify this? Because at the end of the day, think of Monopoly. If the appraiser says, go ahead, pass go, collect your $200, sweet. That's great. But sometimes he says, go directly to jail. And what that means, if he says go directly to jail, that means we have a value issue. If we have a value issue, it is going to be really hard to overcome. And I'll tell you, typically a value issue falls on the seller. Why does it typically fall on the seller? Because they're the ones who set the price. If the bank says, no, we cannot support this loan, they have the thing that you as the seller want. They have the money. It's not always the case. Sometimes we can come up with a nice compromise, like if there's seller self-involved. Sometimes we can try to meet in the middle, those kind of things. There's lots of little tricks. Little bit of chicken fry. Cold beer on a Friday night. Pair of jeans that fit just right. Number 11. The number one factor that agents do not account for is scarcity. So when they're pricing your home, they should also be aware of like homes that are in the market, on the market at that time. Because guess what? If there's very few homes like yours, you can probably push your price. But if there's a lot of homes like yours, you probably need to get a little more aggressive with bringing the price to here so that you get more bodies through the door. More like homes on the market, price about here. Very, very few homes on the market like yours, price goes up. Isn't that cool? Neat little trick, right? Oh, I think it's spectacular. Millions of peaches, peaches for free. Millions of peaches, peaches for me. Here's the down and dirty. Here are the things you need to consider when pricing your home. The comparable past sales need to be within 6 months, at most 12 months. They need to be like homes. They need to be within 30% of the square footage. They need to be similar condition. They need to be in the same county and school district. Oh. And lots of other crap. The bottom line, Zillow doesn't understand these algorithms, nor does Realtor.com, any of those things. Why don't they understand these algorithms? Because their system is built for typical states. We're not a typical state. So Zillow, Realtor, all those jazzy scooters, they're comparing Hanover borough schools to Littlestown schools all the time, and it's skewing your value. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have lower taxes, you have the ability to have a higher sales price. Doesn't that sound delightful? Alright guys, I'm going to finish this up. See you later. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid, Tell me, princess. Forgot the words. Need soap. Hold on. La Savenya, Benaminimissimo. Why do you treat me bad? Why do you make me sad? Remember Sugar Ray? Maybe we shouldn't. So, soap in my eye. I feel like right now this would be the backdrop of a Nickelback song.